So, I realised I didn't introduce myself at the beginning of this session, so I do apologise. My name is Karen LaRue, and I'm the Welsh Government Biodiversity Policy Team Leader. We now have a little bit of time for questions. We don't seem to have, is Rachel and Lucy available? I've realised that one of the side effects of running a pre-recorded video is that, Lucy, you've actually answered all your questions as you've been going along, so we saved a bit of time there as well. So I'm just checking if we might be able to run Alison's video at 2 minutes at the end. Someone will tell me in a moment. But in the meantime, I just wondered if anybody's got any questions, they can add them into the chat box at the bottom. But in the meantime, I was just going to pick up a few of the things that really jumped out to me of those talks. Obviously, what was linking them all together was the importance of talking to local communities, getting feedback, interacting with those. And there was lots of good things in there. I was really interested to hear about your initiatives with the arts, Alison. I don't know if that's going on in any other areas. Rachel, it would be great if you could say a little bit more about what you were going to talk about. And Lucy, I thought that was really refreshing that you talked about the mistakes you've made and learning from those and doing better the next time. So if I can come back to you then, Rachel, if that's okay, as we didn't hear from you in your presentation. Is there anything you'd like to add very quickly in a couple of minutes?
I'm not too sure if we've lost her again, guys.
Oh my goodness. poor Rachel. In that case, I will go. Can we just pick up on the arts point then, because it's something that I'm not very familiar with, and you've obviously done lots of work on that, Alison, and it would be interesting to see whether other projects have also been using those methods. I'll open that up to any of you. Alison, do you want to go first?
Sorry, what was the question? You want to know?
Oh, about the arts approaches you've been taking with colleges. It's something that I've been hearing a bit more about, people linking up with arts in various ways, and poetry and paintings and all sorts of things seems to be something which I'm less familiar with, but becoming more popular.
Yeah, I guess the inspiration rate, well, it's a sort of twofold. I guess, as I sort of alluded to at the beginning, biodiversity conservation is such a big challenge that we often find ourselves talking to the same people who are already interested, and I think that RSPB certainly has discovered in recent years that we need to try and have a much more diverse sort of toolkit, really, in terms of engagement, because that allows us to take messages into new places. And working with theatre groups like Tinshed, that's their speciality. They've delivered some really amazing, mainly theatrical but also art installations. They did the Moby Dick on the Transporter Bridge, which was just a lovely way of engaging people with history, their local history, and monuments and locally. And I think that's the angle we've come at it, really, is that we want to get as many people engaged as possible. It's a hook more than anything. It's a hook to get people talking about the kinds of subjects that we need people to be talking about. It's not, we're using the arts, for our purposes, because obviously there is an important link there as well. But yeah, that's kind of mainly how we've come at it. And then it's been really interesting to see that people who have got involved with some of our arts projects have also then got involved in other areas of program, which volunteering or history research, or various other threads. So that's been really useful and informative for us. I don't know if that covers it. if
Someone
anyone
else want to jump in while Karen comes back?
There's not much I can add. I haven't worked
She this
with
morning.
Alison.
Sorry. I'm back, so I'll jump in. I was just going to say anyway that there's a question here which a couple of people want to know, which is what is the best form of engagement which has actually made the project happen? Is it schools? Is it landowners? Is it village halls? Is it the arts? What is the sort of the best hook you found?
Well, do you want me to answer again, or someone else? My answer would probably be that you can't take a single approach, because that is alienating to lots of different groups, and also the form of media that you use is really important. So, if we did everything online, there was certainly, at least prior to lockdown, because COVID has actually forced a lot of people online. I went to a meeting with our history volunteers. Its average age is 60 to 70, just a couple of weeks ago, and they were all on Zoom and presenting, and really, really au fait with this technology, which a few months ago they found quite alienating. So, obviously that has had a huge impact on the way that we probably work, and will work in the future. But yeah, when we first started, it was really important for us to do things like flyering through letterboxes, using community notice boards, because otherwise we got a lot of complaints that actually our messages weren't reaching some important people in the community. So I think, yeah, it's really difficult to pick out. Obviously, working with the landowners is really important for certain outcomes that we need to achieve on the ground. But then we also need to win hearts and minds, because ultimately, if we want to influence policy, we need people. We need people to put pressure on decision makers, and they need to understand the issues. So I wouldn't like to single out one particular area of engagement as being more important than another, because it all has to work together. This is a huge societal challenge, and it needs multiple responses.
Thanks for that, Alison. Lucy, do you have anything to add to that?
Yeah, in terms of Be Friendly, I think the community engagement has been key in putting sort of ideas into action. We've had a lot of volunteers, helping us and helping us identify areas. And I think getting to know the communities has been really an essential part of being able to kind of make those little transformations in areas. And again, it's those opportunities where we've learned from our mistakes as well, and engaged in the communities during that process. Obviously, working with schools is a great way of getting a message across, and giving some ownership to the children within their own school grounds, and as well, has been really sort of beneficial. But I think to see the most action from my point of view, it is getting in with the community groups and working with those communities directly.
And the same question then to you, Becky.
I echo what both Alison and Lucy have said, that there's a lot of different ways of doing it, and community groups. We've had an established community group, the Friends of Taffbargoed Park, and so they're a fantastic place to sort of go. But one of the challenges is not just being completely focused by their voice, and there are lots of other sort of more sort of ad hoc users of the site, or aren't sort of affiliated with anything. So working with additional partners like the South East Wales Rivers Trust to as a part of their engagement process into classrooms, and volunteer networks as well. So that's been a really important part of really understanding the total need of the place, and maybe not paying too much over attention to the loudest of voices. So it's a challenge, as always, working with communities. But yeah, a varied audience is always the most sustainable, I think, in the long run.
And very worthwhile. And I think I really enjoyed the advocacy from Sue in your video, Lucy, as well. I thought that was really powerful.
Been a real key part in helping us to learn the processes ourselves and implementing change. So without those community groups, we wouldn't have been able to do it. So
yeah. Okay, so on that note then, I will wrap up this morning's session. Thank you so much to all our speakers, and to all of you who've been listening in and hopefully enjoying the presentations. Just a few items of housekeeping at the end, to say that there's much more information on our Hoover platform, and you can see other sessions there and register for those. And we'd also be really grateful if you would provide us with some feedback on each of the sessions. And there will be an end of conference evaluation coming round eventually also. So we'd be very grateful for your feedback. But if I can just now thank all of the presenters, Alison, Lucy, Becky, and Rachel also, and I'm so sorry we didn't get to hear much from Rachel. But generally, our technology has been running exceedingly smoothly thanks to the backstage team. So thank you very much to everybody, and we will see you again at 12:30 for the the LMP Cymru showcase, and then more about working with communities to follow on with that. Thanks everyone. Bye bye.